So a former Air National Guardsman that was flying the United States flag on behalf of Russia in Avdiivka has been identified. His name is Wilmer Puelo Mota, 28 years old, a former security forces tech sergeant with the Massachusetts Air National Guard. Now in 2020, Puelo Mota was charged with possession of child pornography after allegedly soliciting nude photos from a teenager, from what legal documents show. He was also a city councilman in the town of Holyoke, Massachusetts at the time. According to court documents, Puelo Mota was last known to be in Istanbul. He boarded a flight January 7th, 2 days before he was supposed to be in court regarding the charges, departing Dulles International Airport in Virginia for Turkey, and he's been gone ever since. He was actually officially separated from the guard in October of 2022, but a video recently came up of him in Russia talking about how he helped liberate Avdiivka. So he said he helped liberate Avdiivka with his Russian brother. I'd like to see what he has to say in the video, and I think you would probably want to see what he had to say in the video as well. So let's check this out, and then we can come back to it. Okay, so obviously in Russia.
Yeah, so obviously it's a difficult situation, right? It's it's war, it's a special military operation, but I was lucky to be there with people from Petnashka, with people from the International Brigade, and we did our work, we did our job, we did what we were supposed to do, and I was very lucky and fortunate to serve with those guys. I definitely would do it again. I'd go back if I could with them. Great people, fantastic people. Avdiivka, it's terrible. It's sad what's happened there. It's a very bad situation, and I'm glad that we can help in the way that we're helping to move forward the goals that have been set forth. So like I said, we were serving in Petnashka, and I met some very good people from all over the place. I met some Serbian friends that decided to join a military contract here, and they really recommended it to me. They're back in Donbass now. So we wrapped up in Petnashka. It was a great experience. Now I'm coming here to hopefully meet up with my Serbian friends that are on the phone. Like I said, I mean, the social support has been absolutely fantastic. From the moment I got here, I had a great translator, volunteers. No, seriously, it's important. It's important. When I was in Moscow, you had the same thing. And here, when I got here, the social support has been amazing. People are so supportive. I mean, this is the least that I can do, is to give back and help. I mean, everybody's just been so kind, so supportive, and just ready to help me move forward. And I want to help them now continue the mission. So
Interesting. Yeah, that's clearly the same guy. It's pretty plain to see that that is definitely Wilmer Puelo Mota. A spokesman for the 104th Fighter Wing in Massachusetts said that they're definitely aware that he left the country in response to the civil criminal charges filed against him. So they were aware that he was fleeing the country in order to avoid criminal charges. The Air National Guard also said that criminal activity is not compatible with our values as an organization and will not be tolerated in our ranks. Yeah. Before joining the Air National Guard, Puelo Mota also served in the active duty Air Force as a security forces airman, which is basically like the MPs of the Air Force, essentially. Yeah, because the Air Force had a press release about the 455th Air Expeditionary Wing's 2015 deployment to Afghanistan, which I believe he was a part of. Posts from him on his Facebook and Telegram claimed that he was in Russia, and there were also videos being shared of him signing up to serve in the Russian army, because obviously that's going to be used as propaganda. It's good propaganda for them, because then like, hey, look, a United States citizen is serving with the Russian military. And this is all from an unbiased perspective. This is just calling it like it is. I mean, same thing if you have Americans serving in any nation's military. It's good propaganda for that nation to be like, oh, look, an American is serving with us. So let's see. Yeah, so while the state can't verify the authenticity of videos and photographs of Puelo Mota, the state of Massachusetts has received photos and videos saying that the defendant for the case is in Russia and Ukraine. So they're aware that he fled before legal proceedings could take place for his charges, and he still hasn't returned yet. So Let's talk a little bit more about what actually transpired between him and the victim that he was charged against. So, said that the 17-year-old victim said that Puelo Mota, who was 24 years old at the time, had sent her money via Venmo for sexually explicit photos, even though he knew that she was underage. So, when he was arrested, it was in September of 2020 in Warwick, Rhode Island. Interesting. Yeah. He was scheduled to appear in court on January 9th of 2024, but 2 days earlier, he boarded a flight to Istanbul, Turkey, which we already talked about. But, okay, so yeah, this past January was when he apparently fled the country, on the 7th. The Rhode Island Attorney General acknowledged that he fled the country and joined the Russian military, or invented the story to evade the case against him. But he's been seen since then in videos and photos, so obviously you can't 100% confirm and be like, yep, here's his geolocation, but it's pretty safe to say at this point that he's been in Donbass and Avdiivka. He could have faced a minimum sentence of 5 years in prison if he had gone to trial and had been found guilty, and probably would have been registered as a sex offender, more than likely. He's also facing additional charges of forgery, counterfeiting, and obstruction of the judicial system for forging email documents to deceive Rhode Island authorities and his commanding officers at the Barnes Air National Guard base. Wow, this guy was just racking them up. Like, stacking them up. Let's see. Apparently, there's Russian bloggers that claim that that Puelo Mota was paid 745,000 rubles immediately and 154,000 every 2 months for joining the Russian military. Can't confirm that necessarily, but that would be an interesting turn of events for that. Either way, this guy's been a fugitive of the law from the United States, and in order to what it seems like to me, from looking, from the outside in, is that he wanted to avoid getting in trouble and being arrested and having to face charges. And so that's why he fled. If I had to guess, he's like, well, this is a quick, easy way for me to get out of this situation, because I don't know if he hadn't been charged with these things, do you feel like he would have been compelled to still leave to go join the Russian military? I'd have a hard time believing that. So anyway, some lessons can be learned here. Number one, don't solicit stuff to minors, and, definitely don't go join a foreign military if you're an American service member. That's pretty simple, I would think.